Days of Christmas Land Challenge. My name is Jack Bosch and I'm your co-host again today. Today I have a different co-host with me. Yesterday it was Michelle Ferrara, one of our master coaches, and today we have another one of our master coaches here with me, Mr. Aaron Williams. Aaron, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing fantastic. How is it out there in cold country?
It's very cold. Went to a football game last night. It is in the 20s at night. During the day, 30s, 40s. I think I'm gonna have to head down your direction where it's a little warmer.
Yeah. You better. You come down here. Like that's the beauty. Like during COVID, you actually you packed up the family and went to Florida for half a year and just rented a house down there, right? So that's the beauty of this land business, that you can actually take it with you. And we'll talk about that a little bit more today. So as everyone is diving in, how did you guys enjoy yesterday? Can you put perhaps into the chat box what was like your number one takeaway from yesterday from the strategy about tax deed investing? Yesterday we covered how to actually go to tax deeds, how to identify the kind of tax deeds that have a lot of land, that have low competition, where you get some smoking deals. I actually showed you properties coming up that have an assessed value or market value of over $110,000 and the minimum bid is $10,000. I showed you properties that have an assessed value of $50,000 and have an assessed have a starting bid of $5,700. Right? So I hope that was enlightening to show you that there's deals right at your fingertips right there. So now today we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about niches, because you know what? There's a word that rhymes with niches, and that word is riches. You got it, right? Riches are in the niches. In other words, there's this word called focus. You can do business and do all kinds of stuff, or you can just simply lock in and focus. And the focus is what makes you successful ultimately, right? So if I said I enjoyed yesterday's meeting, easy to find, how easy to find them. That was the takeaway. This is real and doable, said Rashida. Fantastic day. Wonderful. Great. Glad to hear you guys had good feedback. So by the way, how do you like the Christmas setup here? The elf moved, the magic elf moved from this side. Where was it yesterday? From this side to this side today, right? And it moved all around, and that's what these magic elves do. Now, obviously, I have an 18-year-old daughter. She doesn't believe into the elf anymore, but still the elf shows up during Christmas time, and she has fun discovering where the elf is coming up. So we're still making it a kind of a fun kind of thing in the house for the elf to show up randomly and so on. So anyway, guys, so let's get going. So Aaron, what we're talking about, so let me first ask you a question, let me ask everyone a question before you introduce yourself. For whom here is this the first session that you kind of like ever attend with us, or yesterday was the first session you ever attend with us? For who is you brand new, perhaps you saw an advertising about it, or perhaps you downloaded one of our free tools that we give away, like a 30-day blueprint or anything like that. For whom here this is like the first time that you are around us, and for whom is this like the 27th time that you've been around us? So like, or the 17th time, you know what I mean? Like for whom you have been around here many times. Put in the chat box for right now, just to let, so I know who we're talking to, who is here with us. Okay, so there we go. Andrea says it's my first time, iPhone's first time, old timer, said Matt. Okay, first time, it's like my 7th training session, Shanti, many times, 100 times. Yes, Timmy, I recognize you. Okay, multiple offenders. Okay, so first or several years ago. All right, wonderful. Great. So we have a nice mixture of people here that have never heard of us before and people that have been around us for a while. So as you guys know, we are the OGs. We're the original educational company for land investing. We typically focus on our scalable cookie cutter, like highly profitable land profit strategy. And we'll talk about that today a little bit because it fits right into the niche that we talked today. But then also what the key to this 8 days of Christmas is that over the process of learning this core strategy and mastering and becoming the best in the world at this core strategy and doing thousands of deals with this core strategy over the years, we have also discovered a whole bunch of additional ways to find deals. So what we're doing this in this 8 days of Christmas, we're giving you a whole set of 8 different strategies. Some are acquisition based, some are disposition based, some are scalable and automation based strategies to get more deals quicker. Many of these strategies are standalone. Some of them are interwoven and relate to our core strategy, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So with that said, Aaron, I want to introduce you for a second. Aaron is one of our master coaches in our coaching program. If you're interested in our coaching program, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about some of our programs later on in the week. Obviously, we do have programs. Obviously, we are going to issue an invitation later on in the week to join one of our programs, but I want to be making crystal clear that all 8 days of Christmas here, all 8 gifts that we're giving you are 100% free, and they're 100% detailed how-to, step-by-step video share, screen share, demonstrations of how these strategies work. So you can attend these 8 sessions for free, or if you realize that this is what you want to do, that you want to go deeper into that, we invite you to join one of our programs. And you can always do that by booking a call at Land Expert Call, by talk to our team about that. With that said, Aaron, give us an introduction about who you are as one of our master coaches. What do you do as a coach, and how you got to land flipping in the first place?
Hey guys, my name's Aaron. I actually started a long time ago. I started in the car business. I was selling cars for a living. After I was in the military, I went to college. I learned how to be an engineer. I hated being an engineer. Found a friend. He says, hey, I make a lot of money selling cars. Started selling cars. Hated selling cars. Couldn't believe it. I was working 9 to 9 selling cars. I said to myself, I can't live the rest of my life working 9 to 9 every day, or most days, or 6 or 7 days a week. So I was really frustrated because I said to myself, how can I sustain this? And I don't know if there's anybody out there like that. Like, how can I sustain this for a long period of time? And I remember going to the owner of the car dealership, and I says, I like to have this house. I like to drive this car. I like to do this, this, and this, and I like to have some time. And I just never forget. He told me, "You're in the wrong business. You're in the wrong vehicle." And that's kind of what started my entrepreneurial journey, because I said to myself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to live life on my own terms? And I tried everything. I tried, buying and selling websites. I tried buying stuff on Craigslist, or getting stuff on Craigslist for free and selling that. I did eBay, I did Amazon, I did everything. It all worked, believe it or not, but it didn't move the needle. Like, you can buy and sell a couple of things, but it wasn't like I was gonna make a unbelievable living. But I'll never forget it. I was on eBay one day and I found a guy selling a property for $5,000. And I'm saying, how can this be? Is this even real? And I did some research, and the same person was buying the property for $500. And they were doing a few properties a week, 2 or 3 properties a week doing this. And I said, wow, that could really move the needle for me. So that's when I said, you know what, let me try this land thing, because everything I was buying and selling, I was making like $10 here, $20 here, $100 here. I wasn't moving the needle. I said to myself, it's never going to happen. But this was one of the things I liked about this business. I can make thousands of dollars per deal, and I could do multiple of those deals. And I said, you know what? If I could really focus on this, I could really move the needle. And then what I really liked about it, because I wanted the time, I says, you know what? If I could train someone to buy and sell stuff for me, now I can have the money and I can have the time. So that's when I went all in on this business. And I did my first deal in 2012, where I bought something for $500, I sold something for $5,000, and then I just kept it going. You know what I mean? I just kept it going. And, fast forward, a few years later, I do anywhere from 30 to 50 deals per year of buying and selling these properties, and I do it with other people doing it for me, right? So now I could make the money, but I've leveraged it where I have other people doing the deals for me on my behalf. And that's kind of the exciting part. And then, I hooked up with Jack because he taught me the business. I got the course from him, and now I'm here teaching other people to do the same thing. So that's like my short introduction.
So you went to our coaching program, you blew it up out the roof. You created hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over the years of profits from that. And now you are back, and you're also part-time on top of your full-time business, which is, you have actually, we'll talk about that later, because Aaron is our automation expert. Aaron is running his business with 30 to 50 deals a year. And how many hours a week?
It's between 6 to 8 hours a week.
6 to 8 hours a week, guys. Now let me show it by a show of hands, or put it in the chat box. Who would love to run a 30 to 50 deal a year business? What is your average profit on your deals?
Right around 30 grand.
So 30 to 50 deals at $30,000. You do the math on that. You simply pull up your calculator. 30 times 30,000 is 900,000. 50 times 30,000 is 1.5 million. So anywhere in between there, like by self-admitted by Aaron, that kind of a business on 6 to 8 hours a week. Now let me be clear. That doesn't happen overnight. Right? That doesn't happen on day one. You don't wake up wealthy. You don't wake up rich tomorrow morning. If you're looking for something that you're waking up rich tomorrow, go somewhere else. Buy a lottery ticket, right? This is not that. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But Aaron is using the exact same strategies that we already taught. Aaron, have you attended tax deed auctions and bought at tax deed auctions?
I have. I've done them online and I've done them in person. And
there we go. So Aaron has done what we talked about yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about the niches, and let's actually jump right in there. And I'm going to take the lead on the first one, and you'll take the second one. The first niche that we're going to talk about is mobile home lots. Now, very first thing is, why are mobile home lots a niche? Well, let me tell you the first thing. In the United States, unfortunately, there's a sad statistic. And the sad statistic is that there's about 70% of all Americans under the age or over the age of 50, so basically in the not pre-retirement age, but they're having retirement on the horizon, at least in some, like 10, 15, 20 years from then, they're looking at retiring. And 70% of them do not have enough money saved up to survive one major financial emergency, meaning a big medical bill, a big car breakdown, or something that I have to buy a new car, like a big educational expense, or a big health expense, or a big house expense, or anything like that, would literally wipe them out. So now here's the other statistic. What is the Social Security in the United States? The average Social Security payment, if you retire at 65, is $1,600 a month. Okay, that's good and fair. But what is the average rent in the United States? $1,500 to $1,600 a month too. So in other words, if you're a single man or a single woman retiring at 65 and you're getting $1,600, you don't have a ton of savings, you are basically broke. You're paying rent and you have no money left to eat. Now, if you're a married couple, then perhaps you both will get Social Security. You have $1,500 to live on, but that's nothing after paying car insurance, after paying health insurance, after paying groceries. You got nothing left. So here's something that is happening, and that is happening all across the United States. We talked about the kind of properties we focus on yesterday. We talked about that typically in our land business, we're focusing on infill lots, basically in the city, lots that we sell to builders. Number two, we focus on properties that that are in the path of growth. So about anywhere from 10 to 45 minutes outside of a bigger city, or an hour outside of a bigger city. There's lots that you can buy there. They're usually they're interesting for the people that work from home, that can work for a satellite dish and just like be engineers or computer programmers or virtual nurses or something like that from home. But they're also, and then the third kind of property is large acreage, like mini ranches. Who would love to have a mini ranch, right? So the second one, these properties outside of bigger cities, is actually the sweet spot for those exact retirees. Now, they're being bought also by people that want to just work from home and want to be close to the city but not in the city. But a big purchase group of these lots is future retirees. They're realizing that they can't go live with the kids. That's true. But and as my mother-in-law lives with us, and that's the most normal thing in my culture and in my wife's culture from Honduras, Central America. And we love grandma here with us. But many families are not set up for that because they're struggling themselves. They're the sandwich generation in between, right? They still have kids and now their parents are retiring, and it's really tight. So what some of the people over the age of 50 are doing now is they're starting to realize they need to downsize. They need to prepare for a lower cost retirement. And a lower cost retirement can mean two things. First of all, you keep working until you're 80, 90 years old, or, which some people are doing, or you go and you find yourself a piece of land in a lower cost area, ideally that you can put a mobile home on there, and then when you pay that off over monthly payments. We'll talk tomorrow about how to build $12 million of passive cash flow and passive notes and tens of thousands of dollars of money coming into your bank account through cash flow from land. And then the method for that is seller financing. So basically they're paying a down payment, then they pay that lot off over the next 10 years. Then they put a used mobile home on it. And as a result, they can then have a free and clear lot, a free and clear mobile home, and their $1,600 is now spending money that they can spend on electricity, on insurance, on food, and they have a dignified retirement. So there's this huge demand because all these baby boomers are retiring. These baby boomers are getting ready to retire, and they realize many of them don't have enough money to retire, and a lot of them are pushing out of the cities into these mobile home lots. So mobile home lots are absolutely on fire. And Aaron, you can comment on that. When you have a mobile home lot for sale, how fast does that sell?
About a week or less.
A week or less, exactly right. So you guys understand me, who intellectually understands what we're talking about. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a sad statistic, but here's the thing. How would you like to, wouldn't it be a beautiful thing if you could be the one that finds those lots and provides those future retirees with a safe place to retire? Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing that you could do? It would be a service to humanity. It would be a service to the happiness of the older generation and making them able to retire in dignity, right? Doesn't that make sense, guys? So let me therefore share, how do you find those things? So Barb, can you actually allow me to share my screen? Because I don't think you have me set up as co-host. So I can't share my screen. That is coming up. All right, so now there we go. I can share my screen now. So one of the things, so the first thing I want to do now is I'm going to go into some areas and look around. So for example, let's look at my own home state where I live, Arizona, just simply because I live there. I live here in the Phoenix area. So let's go into some areas. Let's go into some areas like, for example, like there's an area here. There's Las Vegas. And within like 45 minutes to an hour from Las Vegas, there's this area called Laughlin or Bullhead City. Now, if you look into Laughlin and Bullhead City, I can switch this to satellite view, and I can go in here and I can start looking at some of these neighborhoods here. And if I look at that, what do I see here? What I see here, what I'm looking for in particularly, is these kind of buildings that look like little old filterless cigarette butts. So in other words, this kind of thing here. You see that kind of thing, this white little bar? That's a single wide mobile home. You see this one here? That's a single wide mobile home. You see these here? That's gray one. That's a single wide mobile home. That's a double wide. That's another single wide mobile home, and so on and so forth. So in other words, if I see that, first of all, I can assume that a neighborhood like that will allow mobile homes, because if it's full of mobile homes, well, then the assumption is you can put mobile homes on there. But that's as simple as that. And what I also see is that there's an empty lot, 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 there's an empty lot. So these are kind of like a hybrid between infill lots and kind of mobile home lots. So in other words, and by the way, this area is so fully occupied that are there utilities to these properties? I mean, the obvious answer is yes, because 90% of these lots are already filled up. So now this looks very different than, for example, a subdivision like a subdivision like this one here. This one here is a subdivision that obviously does not allow mobile homes. Because you look at that, these are all completely stick-built homes. These are homes that these are properly built homes. These have nice pools. They have they're larger homes in some cases. They're all regularly built homes. So the first place you want to do is you want to find areas where mobile homes are allowed. And the easiest way to find that is by either going by zoning. You can go to the county and you ask like, hey, what zoning does an area need to be for mobile homes to be allowed? They give you that zoning, and then you can go into a data source and you search by that kind of zoning. The second easiest way is to simply go look around in areas you might want to do business in. Like, for example, in this area. Why is this area an attractive potential area to do deals? Now, first of all, this is the Colorado River. There's Bullhead City, and there's Laughlin. Now, Laughlin is in Nevada, and what does Nevada have that Arizona doesn't? It has casinos. So there's the Aquarius Casino, there's the Edgewater Casino, there's the Tropicana Laughlin, there's the New Pioneer Casino, there's a bunch of casinos, there's a river, there's entertainment, and you're only about 45 minutes to an hour away from Las Vegas, Nevada. So in other words, you're not technically in the path of growth. But would that be a possibly attractive area for somebody to go and buy a lot, pay it off over the next 10 years, put a mobile home on there, and now they can get, perhaps with the extra money that they have now because they have a free and clear lot, they have a free and clear mobile home, they perhaps put their $50,000 savings they had and put that into a mobile home, and now they have that mobile home on the lot, they have a dignified retirement, perhaps they have a little money left over for a little boat. They can go to the casinos, they can go in there, and then an hour they're at the international airport, being able to fly everywhere they want to go. Right? Does that make sense? Well, that would be Laughlin has big casinos, says Jim. Yes, I hope that hope that makes sense. So one of the ways that you do that is exactly that. You go. Let me see what is coming up. What we are seeing here. I'm stop sharing here. I'm sharing the wrong thing. We might want to cut that out, but. So yeah, we go over here. Now there's other areas like that. It continues to other areas. For example, so you can look around. You can go here, you can go into that area. This is that, but there's another area here called Kingman. Well, Kingman, Arizona is actually a quite nice and desirable retirement community. Why? If you look at it, well, it has, first of all, it has a couple of golf courses. It has some baseball plays here. It has a golf course up here. I think there's another golf course somewhere down here. But at the very least, there's at least one golf course here. Then there's subdivisions everywhere. And if you look at those, you see there's a whole bunch of subdivisions coming up over here. And if I look into these subdivisions, what do I see? Well, first of all, I see a lot of built lots already. I see a lot of built lots. And if I look at that, what do I also see? Oh, this looks like a mobile home. This looks like a double wide mobile home. This looks like a double wide mobile home. This looks like a wider single wide mobile home. This looks like a mobile home. So in other words, again, there is another single wide here with a porch on both sides. So in other words, there is lots of mobile homes here. That means mobile homes are allowed. Number two, I see that there is lots of houses here. And number three, I see that there's lots of empty lots in here. Because if you look at that, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, house, empty lot, house, house, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, 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 lot. All of these empty lots are on roads where there's already a ton of houses and a ton of these houses already, so probably has underground utilities, probably has electricity, probably allows mobile homes, so, and is in the vicinity of both this Laughlin area, like it just has you take Route 68 over to Laughlin, and Kingman, which has a Walmart Supercenter, which has a Target, which has a whole bunch of restaurants, a whole bunch of hotels, has a little regional airport. And again, if you continue out 93, you're about an hour away from Las Vegas if you need to go fly somewhere and so on, and you're close to the lake, those kind of things. So right there, I showed you a way that you can go find areas with lots of mobile home lots. And now the next thing you would do in this case is you would simply go open Zillow and see what are these properties worth in that area. Like, do we want to look at what are these properties worth in that area? And for that, very simply, we just bring up where am I? Oh, I don't want to do that. There am I. I want to bring up Zillow right now for Kingman, and I want to go say, okay, remove the boundaries. I'm going to go into this area that we had just seen, and I'm going to zoom in here. And what I found in this area is a whole bunch of sold properties. This is the area we had looked at. Look at that. There in the last 12 months, there's 181 properties that sold there. And let's see what we're looking at. We're looking for lots for land only. And what are these properties selling for? Let's go into what do they sold for? Well, they sold for 35, for 17, for 20, 17, 12, 11. So they're not super high value properties, but I can also see where they're a little bit more high value, and that seems to be here. Right here, they sold for 43, 44. So something here, they probably have more utilities than these guys have. And these guys sold for 28, 35, 20, and 28. So probably a well-located lot with all utilities is worth about the $28,000 to $30,000 range here, 30 to 40, $45,000 over here, and these probably lots don't have all the utilities. They're probably worth $10,000 or $12,000. So that allows me to geographically go and pick only properties in this area or in that area and go into one of those niches and laser target properties that have the profit margins that I would like to do. Now, does that make sense, guys? Right? Does that make sense? Like Aaron, so what would you do next if you identify those kind of areas?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Okay. So once you identify the area and you study the pricing, then you could do what they call a blind offer, and you could send everybody in that neighborhood one price, but you've studied the pricing. Let's say we've established that all of the lots are selling for $40,000. Could you imagine now everybody gets an offer for $15,000 to $20,000? How's that look? If
yeah.
you do
Do
that,
you think there's some people out there that have held these properties? Now, let's talk about who is selling these properties and how he's selling this property, because what Aaron just said and what I just finished up leads us directly into our core strategy, the land profit strategy. So the land profit strategy, again, let me ask you quickly a question. Who here is brand new, who has not been around us for a long time, to whom is this entire concept of land flipping and land investing? And so just all a little bit strange, a little bit new, a little bit different, and you have, it's something that you haven't come across yet. Well, there are a lot of people say like brand new here, me, new. Okay, so here's the concept that we typically talk about before we jump into the other niches like RV lots, building lots, and lakefront lots. The concept that we're talking about, that in the United States, there's 160 million pieces of land, of which 60% are privately owned. So that's 95 million pieces of land that are in private ownership. Out of those, at any given time, 2 or 3 or 4%, let's say 2, 3, 4 million of those, the owners just don't want anymore. Now, why would they not want these properties anymore? Now, very simply. Number one is, what if somebody wanted to, in their 40s, bought that lot in that same area outside of Kingman, Arizona, and says like, you know what, that's where I'm going to go retire. But now all of a sudden, their kids have babies, and the babies move to Boston. And instead of retiring in Arizona, they have like the opportunity, let's say, to move in with their kids, or the kids have a guest house in the backyard. And instead of moving into this lot in Kingman, they get to be close to the grandkids. What are they going to choose? They're going to choose the grandkids. Right? Or what if the parents pass away and the kids live in Boston, and now the kids inherit this piece of land in Kingman, Arizona, and they don't want it anymore. And the kids don't have any desire. The kids are engineers. The kids are computer software designers, programmers. The kids make $200,000-$300,000 a year, whatever number it is. Like they make a decent income. They don't want this dusty lot of 1.5 acres in Kingman. So what I think, are these kids are going to say no to a $15,000 offer on that property just to get rid of it? No, they're not going to say no. They're going to accept it because what they want is to get rid of the burden of property ownership. So this is one of the concepts. So these people have passed, the owners have passed away, their life plans have changed, or perhaps health or whatever reasons prevent them from moving there, or simply they need money, they have no more use for the property. Perhaps they bought a lot in Florida and one in Arizona, and they decided to move to Florida, and now the Arizona one is left over, or the other way around, and now they have a lot left over. So there's many reasons why these people let these properties go, and emotionally they're not attached to these properties. So now what comes in is the next part. How do we find these kind of properties? Now, typically what we do is we contact them, and I'll show you in a second how we find them. But typically what we do is we contact these owners in one of the 3 different ways: direct mail, cold calling, or texting. Now, Aaron already mentioned the blind offer letter. So we love direct mail because in direct mail in the land world, where my house flippers, those are already experienced in the housing world, direct mail in the house world for a large volume of scaling is very difficult to make work because everyone and their brother sends a million mail pieces to anyone that owns any kind of a house. Like I own 15 rental houses in Phoenix. I get bombarded with text messages, cold calls, and letters for these properties, and they're not even on the market. I have no intention of selling them. I bought them in 2009-10 when the market was crashed, and they're worth 10x what they are. They're beautifully cash flowing properties. They pull in multiple six figures a year of cash flow for the rest of my life. I'm not worried about that. I don't want to sell these properties. But the point is, but in the land side, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. If you send direct mail for land, your response rates are 3 to 5 times higher than they are, sometimes even 10x higher than they are in the house world. Is that true, Aaron?
That's
what you see too?
There's a lot less competition in the land space. Absolutely.
Exactly. There's a lot less competition than in the house space. So as a result, we love doing direct mail, and we use one of two strategies. The first strategy is what we call a neutral letter. A neutral letter is a friendly letter that you send to the seller saying like, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you own this property. Would you be interested in selling it? If yes, call me and I can help you get rid of the burden of property ownership with a cash offer. So then those interested in selling call you back. And then what happens is then you may do a research on these properties and you make an offer. The benefits of that is that you don't have to do any analysis up front. You just select an area because there's mobile home lots. You send out 1,000 letters. Out of these 1,000 letters, perhaps 50 people call you back. Out of those 50 people, you now only analyze those 50 lots quickly for value, and then you make an offer based on the value that is established. The second way is what Aaron just talked about. It's a blind offer strategy. If all these lots are very similar, like what I just shared it, when I just went in here and I just looked at these kind of lots. If we can pick up 100 lots, or if you can pick up the contact information of the owners of 100 lots in this area. Do you guys see my screen? Yeah, there we go. In this particular area here, if I can pick up, or let's go over here where the properties are a little bit more valuable. If I can pick up, the property addresses, the owner addresses of 100 or 200 lots in this area, it's all flat, it's all the same, they all have the same utilities. And I see that these all sold for 45, 43, and so on. So in the vast majority, they sold kind of for that money or whatever it is, even if it's $20,000, doesn't really matter. Over here, there's some sold for 27, 43, and so on. Can I just offer $10,000 a pop on every single one of these properties? And if I get them, I only mark them up to 25, which is, if it has all utilities and so on, it's probably a good deal in the market, and people are going to accept that offer, and I'll make a quick $15,000 in the process. So that's how we do that with the blind offer strategy. We go straight out and make an offer without ever having to talk to the seller first. But either way, we got to find out how we get to these kind of properties. And that's one of the questions that was asked. And somebody's asked, like, could I do this in Canada? You can certainly do it in Canada, but there's one reason why you should be doing this in the United States from Canada, or in the United States from Mexico, or in the United States, I'm from Germany, and since we're teaching this, word has gotten around in Germany that I'm teaching this, so we're getting a constant stream of Germans that want to do this in the United States. So now, Aaron, you just closed a deal where your students from Germany made $156,000 doing a deal in the United States, and she did not set foot in the United States during that process, right?
Yes, she sent direct mail. We figured out value. We used the LPG method. She found a property that was I think it was worth about $2 million for about $680,000. And we sold it quickly for about $900,000, to the next person, minus commission. And she netted about right around 158, 56, somewhere around there, $1,000. So it was a good deal, and it was fast.
I would say so.
And she's very excited.
Yeah, there we
Life-changing
go.
money.
How about that? Now, I'm not going to promise you that your first deal is going to be $156,000, but the point is the reason why this works so well in the United States is that the access to the data of who owns what property for how long and what they paid for it is 100% available to the public. I don't know that that is the case in Canada. I don't know that that is the case in Mexico. It's definitely not the case in Germany. And it's in most countries, property data is not on who owns those properties is not publicly available, but it is in the United States, right? It is in the United States. So here's the thing. So how do you find these properties? Well, very simply, one of the things you can do is you can go into the software. Like, for example, we have a software that those that work with us will get, which is the Investment Dominator software. And in that software, you can very simply go to find deals. And you can say, okay, I want to download these from our data service. I want to define new criteria. I want to look for Arizona, and I will look for Mojave County, where that area was, out of Kingman area. And it tells me that there's 25,547 pieces of land that have a market value between $10,000 and $1 million. Now I want to change that to $20,000 and $1 million, because the super cheap lots, you just simply don't make enough profit. Because if you buy a $10,000 lot, you have to buy it for $1,000 and sell it for $6,000, and you make $5,000. That's still okay. But I would rather like you to make at least $10,000 on a deal. Is that okay with you guys? So if I look at it, if I change it to $20,000, what I find is that there's still 20,000 records over here. Now what I can do is I can actually go into map view. I can switch into map view. I can go into here. I can go and I can zoom in on Arizona, and I can zoom in on Mojave County over here, right? Mojave County. And as I zoom in on Mojave County, and I zoom in on Kingman, and I zoom in on Golden Valley, which is the exact area that we had just looked at, and I wait a little bit, right? I see this is all pieces of land that I can download over here. So all these pieces of land are available here. And what I can do now is I can simply go and I can draw freehand, and I can say, I want all the lots that are in this area. Now, this is a really bad drawing, but if I do that and now I refresh this, it's going to take a little bit for it to come up. There's just in the background. It runs. Okay, let me clear the shapes. Let me try that one more time. All right, so I have a little bit of a slow internet access right now to do this, but you saw that it basically, I can by freehand, I can select all the properties I want in that area, and then I can simply go, I can say, oh, there we go, apply. I forgot the apply. That's what happened. There we go. So I forgot just to press apply. So there's 1,227 lots in that same area. And I can also say now, you know what? I want only those, right? That where, for example, the land sale date is before January 1st, 2016. So basically it's like 10 years ago, right? I can also pick certain, and I can pick certain additional kind of things. I can see if how many of them have delinquent taxes. I can see, does the owner live out of state? I can select all those different things here, and in the process, and if I say, for example, if I say that the ones that have been owned for 10 years plus, that's 388 properties that have been owned for that time. And then afterwards, I just click a couple of more buttons and I download those records right to my database. So now what have I done? I've identified in an area where prices are in the $20,000, $30,000 range, identified properties and their owner information that have been owned for at least 10 years, but they haven't done anything with it. So it's very likely that they don't have an interest in those anymore. That these properties are land only, they're free and clear usually, and this would be a mailing list that I can send out right now. Does that make sense, guys? Right at your fingertips. Right at your fingertips. Aaron, what do you want to add to that?
I want to add that these are great properties and they're selling fast. So when you get one of these on the contract, they're literally in 30 days, you probably sell it 1 to 2 weeks later, and then once you reach out to a title company to help with the paperwork, it's literally 2 to 3 weeks later, you're actually getting a check in the mail. So like the sales cycle between sending out an offer and getting a check, it could be as quick as like 60 days or 45 days of getting a check that's thousands of dollars on one mailer, or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah. So what do you think out of these 388 properties, there's going to be at least one of them that basically where the life plans have changed. Perhaps they're no longer interested in building a mobile home, putting a mobile home there. Perhaps they have passed away, or they just need money, or for many other reasons they're just willing to. They don't want to pay the property taxes anymore, and they're just willing to let that property go and give it to you for like half price. Would that be conceivable, right? Yeah. So you sent 388 blind offers or letters out. And then you get something like 10 answers back. And of these 10 answers, you make an offer and one of them says yes. You just found the path to make your first $10,000. Right? Does that make sense? Right? It's like, so do you waiting for the property you put in your name or to corporate name to put it back on the market? No. What you do, and that is the next step of the process, what you do then is the next step of the process is the moment you have a deal under contract is you actually go and you market it right away, because these lots are not on the market. They're not listed by a realtor. They're not on the MLS. They're not on Zillow. They're not anywhere. So you can go, and that's what Aaron does very successfully. He works with some of the top realtors out there. Yeah. He doesn't even do anything on the selling side. He simply gives that property to a realtor. The realtor lists it. The realtor does all this marketing magic. The realtor sells that property in a week or less because it's a mobile home lot that is sexy, that sells very quickly, and the realtor sells that property. And now the realtor makes whatever. If he sells it for 25 grand, the realtor makes $2,500 and Aaron makes $7,500 or $10,000 on that deal. Are you going to be happy to make 10 grand without even doing anything on the selling side? Right? I would think so. Give me a heck yes if you would be happy with making 10 grand, 15 grand on a deal like that without doing anything on the selling side by simply identifying those niches. Because why the niches? Because they're high in demand. Everyone loves these mobile home lots. Baby boomers are retiring very quickly. They don't have enough savings lined up. They're craving these kind of lots. They have the ability to pay these lots in either cash or in seller financing, and you have quick sales at your hand. That's what we're talking about. But that's just one of the strategies. That's what we discovered, guys. When Michelle and I, my wife Michelle Bosch and I, not the Michelle Ferrara that was called my co-host yesterday, but my wife Michelle Bosch, when we started this business in the year 2002, within a matter of 10 months, we were able to quit our jobs. Within a matter of 18 months, we were millionaires. And within a matter of 3 years, we built this into an 8-figure business. Now then, sometime down the road, we started coaching this, and now we have taken people to $1 million profit in 12 months. We're taking people to multi-million-dollar profits over multiple years. Now, that's not an income promise. Not everyone does that. But we have taken hundreds and thousands of people to the first deal, to the second deal, to the first 5 figures, to the first 6 figures, to multiple 6 figures. Hundreds of people have retired because of this. And that's what we're here to share with you for the course of this week. With that said, guys, let's move on to the next strategy. And the next strategy, Aaron, is actually, we're going a little over today, but is RV lots. So let's focus quickly on the RV lots, and then let's go from there.
And I just want to let people know that when you're doing the LPG method, that's the scalable method, you're going to find niches that you've never even heard about. These are the ways that I've found different niches. To this day, I still find different niches that I've never even knew about. And the way I found this niche was as I was...
Actually, Aaron, can I quickly interrupt?
Go ahead.
I want to address one question that Shaina is saying. I think there's a big misunderstanding, Shaina. Shaina is saying, so you're buying land just to up the price, not to build. That's horrible. No, Shaina. What we're doing is the price is here. This property is worth $30,000. We're looking for the people that don't want their properties anymore. They're not doing anything with it. They're not bringing it back. They're not serving society by just holding on to it. They're just holding on to it. They're locking it. Nobody builds on it. Nobody's doing anything with it. It's a dead property that's not serving society. We're taking these properties, we're picking them up for $10,000, and we're reselling them for $20,000. We're actually bringing them back on the market below market value. We're serving society. We're helping somebody get into a property at less than they can buy it at the market value. We're the good guys. We're the ones enabling that property to be back into the hands of somebody who now wants to build on it, who is now going to build on it, to actually make their life better, to make their retirement better, to make their ability to live on this property better. We're the ones that helping society bring this property back into usage. So you're getting this wrong. If you're focusing in life on what's wrong, you will never succeed in life. You need to focus on where is the win-win-win-win for everyone involved. The seller is happy because they no longer have to pay property taxes on something that they don't use anymore. The buyer is happy because they're getting something below market value. The county is happy because they actually get somebody to uses the property and build something on it, and you're happy because you actually made profit on that property. I hope that makes sense, right? Guys, don't get your mind twisted up. In life, you need to focus on what's the win-win, what's the positive, how can we do something that actually helps everyone involved. We're not stealing properties from all the little grandmas. We're not putting pressure. We're just simply looking for that through 3 to 5% of people that own pieces of land that they simply don't want anymore. The absolute thing they want is to just get rid of that property and get rid of the burden of these property taxes, of these HOA fees, of these things. They just want to be liberated from their property because they're not doing anything with it. You are the good guy. You are the provider. And on top of it, now imagine this. What if you now sell this property in addition with seller financing? What if you sell that future retiree, you know what, I'm selling you that property for $25,000. It's worth $35,000, but I'm selling you it for $25,000 with just a $5,000 down payment and then monthly payment of $300 a month for the next 10 years. And that enables that person to buy that property in the first place, and it provides cash flow for you. That is something that we are actually going to talk about tomorrow. What is LPGs? Our Land Profit Generator. That's our company name, Land Profit Generator. That's our program name. That's our system name. It's the Land Profits Method, the Land Profit Generator method. So I hope that makes sense, guys. All right, so let's move on. Exactly right.
Yeah, one other thing that about the system, it's a very efficient way to consistently buy things below market value. That's the great thing about it. I remember when I tried houses, I was sitting in people's living room, one living room at a time. You can't be in enough living rooms to make the business work. So the system is a very efficient way to spot opportunities. That's how you got to kind of look at it. But as far as these niches, when I was marketing other properties, people kept asking me, "Hey, can I put an RV on it?" And the property I was particularly selling, you couldn't do that. But after like 8 out of the 10 calls, everybody says, "Can I put an RV on it?" From there, that's when I said to myself, I wonder if I could focus on properties that I could put an RV on. And from there, that's what I discovered what an RV park is. Didn't even know what it is. Very similar to a mobile home area. So just like Jack's saying, how do you locate it, right? So I'll share my screen with you guys. I'll show you how to locate these RV properties. And just to let you guys know, RV properties are in very high demand. You have people that want to live in a place that is affordable year-round sometimes on a part-time basis, sometimes as a second home. I don't know about you guys, but just like that mini ranch idea, how many of you guys would love to have a RV in an RV community on a lake, on a golf course, fire pit, everybody sitting around? That's the kind of thing I'm
Put in the chat
about.
box. Who would love to have an RV lot?
Yeah.
Who would love to have a 2-acre lot half an hour outside of town that you could basically build a beautiful home on?
Yeah.
Who would love to have a 40-acre ranch to have your own mini ranch, right? This is the kind of assets that we're dealing with. Like, put in the chat box right now. There's like 300 something people in here. I would love to have 300 of you comment. Like, it's not everyone's. It's like, I'm a city guy. But you know what? I don't have to be an RV lover, and I don't have to be a desert lover in order to actually. I love going to hike in the desert, but then I love coming home and take a shower in my and sleep in my nice bed. But the point is, there's millions of people who love that kind of a lifestyle. Look at that, absolutely. Here, yes, sir, yes, yes, me. Let Aaron finish. That's true. Aaron, go continue on.
So
Good
anyways,
call out, Bill.
so for you guys to know, when you're marketing and you find these things, I started building a list, and I have a list of thousands of people who want to buy RV lots. So now I have a buyer's list. Now I got to go to work. Now I got to locate them, and I know you guys want to know how to locate them. And I do it a similar way, a little different. So let me share my screen to show you how I locate them. Let's see here, share. Screen one. So the way I locate them is I usually go to Facebook, and I usually go to Marketplace, and I just type in like RV lots for sale. And you guys can see that there's thousands of properties in these groups. There's a lot of RV groups, just to let you guys know. But I use these groups, 53,000 members, 7,400 members, 26,000 members. Just by looking at the numbers, you can see that there's a lot of demand. But I use these groups to find where these places are located, because you can't just buy a list of all the RV lots, because the counties, they don't really have like a zoning. Well, they don't really have, like, it's hard to buy a list for them. So what I do is I find an RV park first, just like Jack found the mobile home lot, but I find the actual RV park. So as you can see, there's RV lots that are listed, like, on and on and on. So here's one here, here's one here. And what they are is you're buying a driveway, okay, that you're going to park your RV on. Utilities are going to be there. And there's a lot of amenities in the community, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to just grab like an address like this. So once you find one, then you're going to come over to Zillow, and you're going to do your price research. But just to let you guys know what an RV lot is that don't know, it's just a driveway. And honestly, I didn't think that these things would be in so demand when I started this, but literally I have thousands of people waiting for me to get them another RV lot. So that's what you're getting. And you put your RV there, you hang out on the sides, there's amenities in the area. Here's people walking around the fire pits. I know there's people on this line right now that would love to be around the fire pit. If you do, say yes in the chat box. But anyways, they're grilling, they're hanging out. But these are what RV lots are. Some people use them for storage. Some people want to live there, and they drive that golf cart around and they can play golf and all that. But this is how I find them, right? Once you find them, then you can find it on Zillow. And as you guys can you guys see my Zillow screen? If yes, just nod your head, right? Once you see it on Zillow, then, here it is. They don't look like mobile homes. They kind of do, but they're a little smaller. But you'll see every single one of these squares is an RV lot. And the reason why I like them so much is because every time I find an RV park, I can find anywhere from 200 to 500 of them at once. Now, these are blind offer opportunities because they're all the same. Can you guys see how they're all the same? Every single one of these. Now, the pricing could be a little different because some are on the water and some aren't, but that's okay. You got to study the pricing. What's cool about the RV community, just to let you guys know, you ain't going to make $5,000 on a deal. You know why? Because look at the prices of these things. The cheapest lot in this RV community is $134,000. If you want to make 5, 10 grand, that's fine. But when you start getting in this price range, you can make 20, 30 grand a pop because people are spending 134,000 on a lot. If you send everybody a 50, 60,000 offer and you price this to sell at 99.99, what do you think is going to happen next? You're going to have a rush of people that are going to want to buy these properties. So this is how you can make 30 grand per deal. You got to deal in higher price ranges like this, right? And then the other thing too, just like what Jack said with the mobile homes, look at the solds. They're everywhere. These aren't houses. These are just RV lots. But if you put yourself in a position to succeed, and how do we do that? We send everybody an offer for lower than what it's worth. That's the difference of working a regular job and putting yourself in a vehicle that can actually get you there. You see, I was working, making 50, 60, 70 grand a year. I wasn't sending hundreds of offers and put myself in a position where I can get this. Here's one piece of paper that's worth 30 grand. Here's another piece of paper that's worth 30 grand. Here's another piece of paper worth 30 grand. I was driving to work and there was no way the vehicle I was doing, the job, I could get this income because I wasn't in the vehicle where I'm sending hundreds of offers at 50, 60 grand on properties that are worth 130, 140, 150. So I could sell them cheap at 100. Why do I want to sell them cheap? Because I want quick sales. Now you have an option if you want a slower sale and make more money, and that's your option. But I like a little volume. I like it to go a little quicker. Don't know about you guys. And that's how you're able to do it. So you find them, Facebook Marketplace. There's other ways to find them. We can cover that and in our programs that we deal with, but that's kind of how the system works.
So quick summary, RV lots. Why are they sexy? Because huge amounts of people in the United States have RVs. As a matter of fact, let me share one quick statistic with you. This is a picture I want to share. Look at that. This is the travel trailer and fifth wheel value, not just value trends, but like there's like there was a statistic here of how many I lost it. But anyway, so after COVID, what happened is, or during COVID, when people couldn't go anywhere, people said like, well, you know what, if I don't want to go into a hotel because who knows, let me just go buy an RV. So the RV sales went off the charts like crazy. So now everyone has an RV, not everyone, but a lot of people have an RV in their backyard, and they don't know what to do with it. Well, guess what? What did not grow? The amount of RV parks, because it takes years to develop them. Like you got to go through zoning changes and approval, and nobody wants an RV park in their neighborhood, and that's so on. So as a result, what happened is RVs, everyone with an RV is now looking to place their RV somewhere. And these RV lots have gone up in value, and there's demand for them from these millions of people that own RVs. And so the very simple strategy is go on Facebook Marketplace, find some for sale, find an address, look at them. Usually they're not alone. Nobody puts an RV lot on their own somewhere there. There's usually in groups of 500, of groups of 1,000, individually deeded. And then you go and you send blind offers to all of those and then pick up a 2, 3, 4 of them. And here's the key. You do not use your money to buy those things. Let me be very, very clear. The strategy that we're teaching was 97% of all our students' deals are done without them using $1 of their own money. That question came up a bunch of times here. Do I close on it first? Do I need my own money? And so on. Where do I get the money from? Number one, the number one way you do these deals, any kind of deals that I'm talking about right now here, is by doing what's called the double closing. A double closing means the following thing. Let's take $150,000 RV lot. You have that $150,000 RV lot, you put it under contract for $80,000. You put it then on the market for $110,000 for a $30,000 markup. Here's what you do. You put it under contract for $80,000, have a piece of paper for $80,000, and then you put it on the market for 110. You sell it for 110. You have this on the piece of contract with a buyer. You have it with the seller for 80, with a buyer for 110. You now take both pieces of paper, put them into the title company. Title company draws up the paperwork, but then at the end of the day, the only party that brings money to the table is the end buyer. The end buyer now brings in $110,000 plus closing cost. The $110,000 is being used. The title company keeps the closing costs. The title company sends $80,000 to the seller and sends $30,000 to you. Now, if there's a realtor involved, the realtor might get $5,000 or $6,000 or something for that. So you make $25,000 or $24,000 on the deal, but you made $24,000 without using $1 out of your own money. You don't need a lawyer for that. You don't need a real estate license for that. You just need to simply work with a title company that is willing to do that. Worst case scenario, the title company is not willing to do that. You need to borrow $80,000 for one day, which is called transactional funding. And where do you find the people that give you transactional funding? When you work with us, we'll give you all the money that you need. We have a huge amount of transactional funders lined up for you. So the bottom line is, in land transactions, in 99% of all the cases, you will not need your own money to do those deals. Even yesterday, when we talked about tax deeds and how to do these things, there you need to buy the property. You can even find an investment partner that gives you the money to buy the property at the tax tax deed. You do not need your own money for those deals. That means you can use your money for education. You can use your money for marketing. You can use for money of those kind of things. Who is excited about this, guys? Right? So with that said, guys, let's move on into one additional kind of way before we wrap up. Well, there's also the way, obviously, you can do after infill lots. You can do the exact same thing that Aaron just shared in the cities, focusing on infill lots. We'll talk about that on Friday. On Friday, we talk about how to turn this entire thing around. Find yourself a builder that's looking to buy lots of land, and then go find them the infill lots that they're looking for. So now you basically have accomplished that you've become an acquisition business, because the disposition is already taken care of with the same buyer. One of our students has done 73 deals last year with one buyer only. How easy is your life if you can sell every single property to the same buyer? Right? We're going to talk about that on Friday. So that's our gift for Friday and how to do that. With that said, there's one extra strategy that I want to share with you. And that extra strategy is, let me see where that is. That extra strategy is now lakefront lots. Lakefront lots are absolute killer, guys. Lakefront lots are one of my favorite things to go focus on, because of the exact same reason that the mobile home lots. Let me ask you, put it in the chat box. Who would love to have a lakefront lot in a rural subdivision, let's say an hour, 2 hours away from a bigger city? Now let me see. Who would be willing to travel from your home if you would have a home on the lake? Who would be willing to travel on a Friday afternoon for an hour or 2 hours to spend your weekend on a lake? And the answer is everyone, right? The answer is everyone. Everyone would love to have a lakefront home. So let's go look at that. Let's look at some random lakes here. So I'm randomly looked at. Here's the United States, somewhere in the middle of the United States. There's Kansas City. There is Oklahoma City. There is, Memphis. There's Dallas. So in about 2-3 hours from that, here right in the middle, there's a bunch of lakes. So I'm just going to be randomly pulling into any of these lakes. Look at that. There's full of lakes. I don't even know. I've not planned this ahead of time. I'm simply going into these lakes, into these areas, and I'm simply going to go zoom in here a little bit. Let me perhaps look at, let's look at this one here, and let's see what we have here. So if we go into these lakes, what we find is there's a whole bunch of, there's a highway, and there's the lake, and then we find along the lake there is, look at that. Empty lot, empty lot, empty lot. Empty lot, empty lot, empty lot. Empty lot, empty lot, empty lot. Right? There is basically, empty lot, empty lot, empty lot, more empty lots. And of course, in between some homes that are built, look at that. There's a road here with not a single house on it. Empty lot everywhere. Everywhere you go. Like there's empty lots here wherever you freaking go. These are lakefront lots. And then of course this area seems to be pretty built out. So not every corner of it is fantastic. But then the same thing here. Look at there. There's empty lots, empty lots, empty lots. It's like directly across the street from the lake. Now here's the thing. This is just randomly. I can pull up the same thing over here. What do we find here? What do we find here? There's a road right on the lake. Empty lots, empty lots, empty lots. Everywhere freaking empty lots on here. Everywhere freaking empty lots. So this is the thing. Again, why can you get these empty lots? Well, very simply. Same reason. People bought them, thought it was a good idea, then they decided that life and circumstances changed, they want to move somewhere else, perhaps their kids are born or their kids are grown up, they don't want to be at the lake anymore, they want to maintain the lot anymore, they don't want to have a second home anymore, they want to be close to the family, but at the same time, so you can pick these things up, right? Very, very cheap, and they're super desirable. But just like yesterday when I told you that in the tax deed auctions, there's also some crappy lots and you want to be careful, you also want to be careful over here. I told you yesterday, if there's one thing I'm going to do in these 8 days, we're never going to bullshit you. Right? Here's the thing, with the lakefront lots, there's a couple of things you need to pay close attention to. Number one, there's lakefront lot. There's lots one road, 2 roads, 3 roads, 4 roads away from the lake. You only want to focus on the ones that are lakefront or perhaps 1 road away from the lake, like first row or second row. Why is that? Because here's the thing, many of these areas have HOA fees. They have HOA fees, and let's say if you pay, some of these HOA fees are pretty high. So sometimes you pay $2,500 a year in HOA fees, and you have $1,000 in property taxes. So just holding on to a piece of land might cost somebody $3,500 a year. Well, that's okay if you have a lakefront lot, because that's value, that's prestige, that's excitement. That's you have your boat, you put a boat dock in there, you have a boat right there, and so on. But row 5, somewhere farther away from the lake, the value of these lots doesn't hold up to that kind of expense every single year. So as a result, there's areas, there's lakefront communities where if you send out 1,000 letters, you're going to get 200 responses, and 150 people want to give you their piece of land for free. Do not take those if they're not front row or 1 row from the lake. Those front row lots will sell even with high HOAs and high property taxes because they're attractive. It's location, location, location on a micro level. Right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? But these direct lakefront communities, they make absolute sense. So in this case, if somebody offers you a property over here on the top right of the screen, no, you don't want to pick those up if they have a big HOA fees. But if they want to offer you a lot right here, say yes, because that one you sell in a week to somebody or in a month to somebody that wants to travel from Memphis or from Kansas City or from Oklahoma City and have their lakefront community, have their lake, and they put like this guy here. Like put a house over here and put a boat dock on there. Same thing. You can have a house over here and put a boat dock over here. And you can have a house over here and put a dock dock over here. And all these lots are absolutely killer lots, easy to sell, highly profitable, but not the ones that are further away. Right? So again, we want to make sure that we tell you the exact truth of what you want to do here. So now let me ask you guys a question. Who would love to make this a real business? Who is excited so far about the opportunities in the land space? First of all, when you use our contract, which we'll talk about tomorrow, and by the way, once you do this, you use the software that we have to get those lists, then you send out direct mail, then you do a follow-up, and as a matter of fact, we gave you a handout today too. And the handout today is actually, it gives you directions on how to filter those lists. It gives you directions on how to find your vacant list owners, and also gives you directions on how to follow up on them. So today, what the handout is a marketing handout on how to find these sexy properties, how to follow up on them, and how to get more under contract. So if you want that, the team is going to put the link right now into for the follow-up things in there. So make sure you make sure that the link is right there, and please also put that into the Facebook group so we have it right there. So that's the number one important thing. But now, with all of that said, you can do these deals without using any of your money. You can do these deals without ever seeing the property because we saw everything we needed to see. You can do these properties without having to put an earnest money deposit down. You can do these properties without having to go and, again, use your own money. You can do these properties if you focus on the right kind of properties, they can sell in a matter of days or just a couple of weeks. Who would love to make this your own, like a full-blown business out of this? Like, who would love to make this a full-blown business? Who is excited about this already? Well, if you are, we're going to talk about things a little bit tomorrow, but I would love for you to put in the word skip the line. Put in the word skip the line if you would love to make this a full-blown business. And then also, if you are interested in working with us on that, I'll talk about it tomorrow. Again, the 8 days are going to be fully jam-packed full of free information. I will talk about some of the programs that we have, and I will give you a non-committal, basically an opportunity to join and have us help you in your success. But again, all these 8 sessions are fully jam-packed, 100% free, and each day is full packed with strategies like today. But if you're interested in working with us or so in any shape or form, then you can already go to landexpertcall.com and book a call with our team and start discussing the opportunities that we have for you. But in the meantime, who would love to make this a full-blown business? Put in the word skip the line, and then, as I said, if you would like to, already book a call. So with that said, guys, what we want to do, we still have the homework that we want to give away. Right? We want to give the homework, but also I want to talk to you about something before I do the homework that I call the field of predictability versus the field of possibility. Now here's this concept. This is concept like Have you ever experienced the following? You have a goal. Who has a goal? Who set the goal yesterday? I loved you guys' goals. There was like over, I think, 100 submissions of goals, and why this is important, and what your missions are, and what your goal is, and so on. Was absolutely beautiful. And we chose somebody that's going to win this book bundle from this, and also somebody who's going to win a $500 worth of Land Profit bucks towards any of our educational programs. So I'll announce who that is, who those winners are in just a second. But here's the thing: has it ever happened to you that you had a goal? Right? You have a goal. The goal is over here, and you push towards that goal. And you're making progress, and you have some setbacks. And you're making progress. Then you hit the goal, but then what happens next is that you fall back behind. You fall back behind, and then you struggle again, and you hit the goal again, and you struggle behind. Essentially, what happens is on the way to your goal, you self-sabotage. Does that ever happen to anyone here? Right? Has that ever happened to anyone, guys? Have you ever self-sabotaged in any shape or form? Well, what happens is when you self-sabotage is basically you haven't accepted, you haven't internalized your new identity as a successful person. Right? The old self is essentially self-sabotaging you and pulling you back into your old being. Like it's your old mindset. It's you're like, oh my God, who am I to think that I can make this happening? Or what I think, like, oh, what the rich people are evil. I think all this, there's this mindset around money that you have. It's a mindset about success. It's a mindset of what success means. It's a mindset of what it means to be finally wealthy. It's a mindset about what it means to be on a good side. I saw some of the comments where people immediately took something that we are providing a service to society as something negative. It's something that your mindset, your money mindset is wrong, and you need to change your money mindset. And you do that by actually tapping into what I call the field of possibility. Now, the field of possibility is basically, it's a field of expansion. It's a field of abundance. It's a field of you need to put yourself in an environment and surround yourself with people who will change your relationship with money for the better. Because here's the thing. Wealthy people are not evil. Wealthy people can actually do more with money, more good with good money. If you're a good person, and I trust that you're a good person, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? We attract who we are, right? So I believe I'm a good person. I believe I'm born lucky. I believe I'm attracting the good in this world. And if you're here, then I must have attracted you, and you must be a good person too. So if you're a good person, then with more money, imagine how much good you can do. Imagine how many other people you can help. Imagine what you can do with that. Some are still talking about, and also some of you guys are still talking about a success that you might have had 20, 30 years ago. You know what? Those days are over. You need to stop living in the past. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. What matters is what happens today. Like many of you have a relationship, if you would put a Facebook status on it, it would be saying it's complicated, right? Who is with me on that? Like who is with me on that? And then it's complicated. It's complicated. Why is it complicated? Because you're not fully committed to your own success. You're not fully committed to actually saying like, this is it. This is the answer. This is what I want to do. Come hell or high water. No matter what people say, this is what I want to do. And if you're not committed, if you're like wishy-washy, back and forth and so on, guess what? Then you self-sabotage. And what's the universe going to do? Is the universe going to provide you with all the abundance in the world if you're not clear to the universe of what you want? No, the universe is going to say like, go, you figure out what you want first and then I'll provide, right? You can't go to the oven and say, give me warmth first before you put the wood in. You need to be crystal clear of what you want to do. Crystal clear about money. For example, I always carry money with me. I always carry money. People say like, we live in a cashless society. I don't. I have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, something like $1,200 here in my pocket. Why do I have $1,200? And you can see it. There's $100 bills here, right? $100 bills, and there's many of them. Why do I have a $1,200 in my pocket? Because I'm training myself constantly to trust myself with money. If you're afraid of running around life with money in your pocket, like how in the world are you going to trust? How in the world is the universe, is the world going to trust you with something if you don't even trust yourself with $100 in your pocket? Right? Like, doesn't that make sense, guys? My wife, Michelle, she travels in her pocket. She has what you call it, the stash. She carries $5K with her all the time, cash. $50, $100 bills. Why? In order to train herself and to make sure that she trusts herself with money. You want to build a relationship with money, not that you love money, but you can love what money can do for you and what good money can do for those around you. And if you start absorbing that relationship, right, then you are going to be successful out there. You're going to tap into the abundance of this world, because there's an abundance amount of land out there. There's an abundant amount of buyers out there. There's an abundant amount of opportunity out there. We are here to show you exactly the way. You just need to get crystal clear about that. And let me show you a quick example of one of our students. She couldn't be here today, so I actually interviewed her a little bit ago. She's actually running her business from a boat. Let's play the little clip of Krista Diepenthal. It's actually Aaron coached her in our coaching program on here, and she and her husband, they're running on a 45-foot boat around the east coast of the United States, from Florida to up to the north, and doing their business from a boat. Let's quickly listen to her.
Well, right now I am at kind of like the Florida-Georgia line.
I love it.
We actually live on a sailboat, and
She lives on her sailboat, you guys.
yeah. So
Actually, Michelle interviewed her.
I am
Yeah.
able to do my business from the boat,
Right?
which is nice, because
I know.
we like to travel around. So
Yeah.
yeah, so as we happen to have Starlink aboard, so that gives us internet even when we're offshore. So I've closed on 4,
Awesome.
and then I have one that's pending. So total, I think with the 4 deals has been about 45,000,
Awesome.
and
That's
then
great.
the one that is pending that
Mhm.
hopefully goes through, right?
Yeah.
Should be about 30. To be honest, as a a homeschool parent and a church administrator, you don't make a whole lot of money, so it's
I
nice
know, right?
to see that it's working.
Yeah, look at that. So they're running on their boat. And Aaron, you actually, when they come up there to Rhode Island, you actually visit them on their boat and you had dinner there. Like, tell us about that.
You know, the whole time I was on the boat, I was wondering, how do they keep the laptop like level? But I saw her desk. She's got a nice boat, couple bedrooms, bathroom, living room. It's like a little floating apartment. It was great because it actually expanded my mind to be like, wow, if they could do this thing on a boat, like you could kind of like do it anywhere at this point. They had just got the satellite internet. So they literally was telling me how they could go out even further in the ocean, because they used to always want to be about 10 or 20 feet off the coastline, 10 or 20 miles. But now they can go out hundreds of miles and just be in the middle of the ocean and doing it. So I was just amazed how they did it and stuff. But it was very impressive, very inspiring. And I have never met a student that did it in a boat, and I was just super impressed. I was just like, wow. So
Yeah, listen, that's the thing. Isn't that incredible? So literally you can take this business everywhere. They don't go see properties. They don't go look at properties. They don't put for sale by owner signs up there. They don't show properties. They don't meet with sellers. They don't meet with buyers. Everything is done virtually from a boat. And I'll be talking more about that over the course of the week. So the last thing I want to say right now, before we wrap this up with a winning prize and so on, is, guys, one more thing on this mindset thing. You got to understand, if you rather spend your time than your money, you will never be wealthy. Let me say it again. If you value your money more than your time, or in other words, if you spend easily your time, but then you will never be wealthy. You know, the time is your most precious asset. You want to do what it takes to create more time, and you can't create more time, but to free up your time. And how do you free up your time? By number one, replacing your 9 to 5 with something that you can run in a few hours a week, like an hour a day, and build the same or better income. And if you look at people like Warren Buffett, one of the wealthiest people in the world, you look at his calendar, you know what his calendar looked like? It is empty. Why is it empty? Because he invests his money into the right kind of a team, the right kind of a support that helps, that does everything so he doesn't have to. And Aaron, you can talk about that very, 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 very well, because basically in life, what you want to do is you want to leverage systems. You want to leverage processes. You want to leverage other people's help so that you can leverage your time to the max. Remember that. If you take one thing away from today's session, it's that. You want to focus, you want to invest your money in systems, in relationships, in processes, in support, and in people that allow you to leverage your time to the max. We all have the same 24 hours, but Aaron is spending only 6 to 8 of them to do 30 to 50 deals a year, while you are spending 8 to 40 hours a week on an 8 to 5. It barely covers the bills or whatever it does. Perhaps it pays you a good salary, but you don't have a relationship with your kids. Perhaps you live in what we call this comfortable life of comfortable misery. This life of this half-life of not being happy. This half-life of being away and spending days with people you don't even like in an office you dread going to just because everyone else is doing it. And Aaron, you can speak about leveraging systems, because tell us a little bit more about how you run your business in 6 to 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 6 to 8 hours a week, and what you do for that, and then we'll wrap up.
So I like using realtors to take all my calls. So, we generate a lot of leads. So the realtors will follow up with these leads and close the deals. I also like using AI to create my ads and get my ads posted all over the internet, right? So if you're not using AI to do a lot of the stuff for you, it's huge. AI doesn't really cost much money compared to if somebody else was doing it for you. And I used to have like 3 or 4 VAs. Now it's down to 1, because a VA is using, the virtual assistant is using AI to do all those ads and posting them all over the internet and all this other stuff. So you got to use people to help you buy and sell your stuff. If you're doing,
we're going to talk about AI much more, I believe, on Thursday's strategy, and also then in strategy 7 and 8, particularly when they go more about automation. It will blow your mind how you can use AI. Like, for example, what we did today, identifying the best RV lots, identifying the best mobile home lots, identifying the best of these lakefront lots. You can literally upload the list of properties to an AI agent, have it go look at the website one by one, identify the best ones, and shoot back in 20 minutes while you have a coffee with your family a perfect list of properties. Now, Aaron teaches that in one of our programs. Aaron teaches that. So if you want to work with us, if you want already, again, who would love to build a business such like Aaron's with 6 to 8 hours a week? Put it in the chat box. Skip the line if you would love to do that. And then talk to us already at Land Expert Call, and we talk about it more tomorrow. With that said, guys, let's go and give away the book bundle. So what was the book bundle? Number 1, starting with why. Yesterday was all about your why. The why is your starting spot to everything. If you don't have a big enough reason why you do something, any obstacle will derail you. You gotta work on your reasons why. You gotta be crystal clear as to why is it important for you to be successful. This is a great book for that. Second book is Buy Back Your Time. Again, it's all about efficiency. It's about leveraging systems, leveraging people, leveraging organizations, leveraging support, leveraging mentor and coaching programs out there. Number 3, Unshakable by Tony Robbins. It's about getting your finances right. It's about the negotiation. It's a fantastic book, a very simple strategies on negotiation, never split the difference. Absolutely love it. And then ultimately, it comes down to you. There ain't nobody going to come to rescue you. Now, we're going to be the closest to that, because we're going to give you the path, we're going to give you the accountability, we're going to give you the training, we're going to give you everything that you need. But at the end of the day, you need to take extreme ownership of your own success. You can be there's a bunch of people that can be doing excuses. If you want to do excuses in this life, then this is not the right thing for you, right? If you want to hear like people get stifled because decisions they need to be made and they're not willing to make those, you don't learn to, you need to exercise your decision muscle. You need to exercise that muscle that helps you, or you will never succeed. Like in a restaurant, there's a study that said they looked at who makes the fastest, the most successful people make the fastest decisions. The least successful people, they wobble along forever. They never make any decisions. Decision makers rule the world. You gotta make decisions. You gotta learn how to make decisions, and it comes down to absolute extreme ownership. People with excuses have no business anywhere. Nobody wants to work with them. Nobody wants to give them a responsibility. No, they're not reliable. They can't be counted on. Like, they will backstab you and blame you, since after all, like, they need somebody to have an excuse for. So that's going to be you. So if you're a person with excuses, you're not that, then change it. Stop the excuses and start with taking responsibility for your life. And then the last booklet, I actually added that as a bonus. It's from Dan Sullivan and Kathleen Nomura, The Laws of Lifetime Growth. Because at the end of the day, life only started after schooling ended. You didn't stop learning when high school ended. You start learning. High school ends the forced learning. After high school comes the learning for life. The most important learnings happen after high school. So this is a great book for Laws of Lifetime Growth. Now the winner of this book bundle is, drum roll, the winner of the book bundle is Ruby Jackson. Ruby, congratulations. And then also we're giving away a $500 worth of Land Profit bucks towards any one of our educational programs. I'll talk about them about 15 minutes tomorrow, in between learning how to build a massive land note, land center financing, land cash flow portfolio. We built a $12 million portfolio, and I'm going to share with you exactly how you can do the same thing, how you can scale this up. That's all about tomorrow. And the winner of the $500 in Land Profit bucks is Melinda Harbaugh. Melinda, congratulations, you win that. Tomorrow we're going to give away $1,000 worth of Land Profit bucks, but you have to do the homework that we did yesterday, and you do have to do the homework that we did today. So if today's your first session, go into the Facebook group. It's called the Land Profits Facebook group. Go into the Land Profits Nation. That's the name of the Facebook group. Go in there, look for yesterday's homework, collect underneath, still add the homework from yesterday, which was, the homework was on what is your biggest why, but today's homework is more tactical. Today's homework is more hands-on. We showed you 4 different niches today. We showed you the different, we showed you the mobile home lots. We showed you the RV lots. We talked briefly about infill lots. We'll talk about that much more on Friday. And we'll talk also about the, what was the last one? The lakefront lots. So with that said, the homework for today is, what is your 2026 income goal? As I said yesterday, it's the perfect time right now to plan for 2026. It's the perfect time to actually get things going, get clarity about where you want to be, identify your asset class, identify your niche, get your educational program going, get all settled, get your system set up, and then start January 1st and just go blow this baby up. Who's ready to blow this baby up? So the homework works the following way. In the Facebook group, Land Profits Nation, the moment this is over, our team is going to drop a post that says homework day 2. And the homework will say, here's the question of the homework. What is your 2026 income goals, and which niche will you use to crush it? What is your income goals? Let's put it in the chat box for now. What is your income goals for 2026 for now? What is your goal? What do you think you reasonably can accomplish already learning only what we taught you so far? Tomorrow we talk about seller financing. Then we talk about all these different strategies. We talk about reverse wholesaling to the sellers, to the builders. We talk about scaling with different strategies. It's like, it's never ending. It's 8 gifts. But what is your goal in 1 year? Somebody says $1 billion. Guys, you want to keep it such that your brain actually can believe it. I love it. 400K, 100K. 100K, 50K, 100K, 150K, 500K, right? A goal is automated systems and no limits. 200K, 250K, 220K, a million, 500K. All those have been done. Every single one of these goals has been done except for the billion one, because the billion, I think, is just a little bit unrealistic. So put a goal that actually your brain can believe, that is a stretch goal beyond what you feel comfortable with, so that you actually get a little bit challenged in doing it, and then put that into the Facebook. So the way it happens is, in the Land Profits Nation, the moment this is over, our team is going to drop a post with the exact homework. You click on below that post, you click on comment, and in the comments you put down your response. And if you've done yesterday's and today's, somebody's going to win $1,000 worth of Land Profit bucks, basically $1,000 worth towards any of our educational programs tomorrow. All right, with that said, guys, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very, very exciting, right? Because tomorrow we're going to talk about how we created $12 million in land notes in 36 months, and how you can do the exact same thing. I'm going to lay it out exactly how seller financing works, how you do it without using any of your own money, how you self-fund these deals, how you can build those, how you can scale those, and how you can build this to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, or in our case, over $70,000 a month in passive cash flow from land. Be there tomorrow. Thank you, Aaron, for being there with us. Love what you do. I love how you contribute, how you give back, how the community loves you, how you're doing deals with our students. And we'll see you